Hi, this is Victor Adetiba, the Business Concierge with BusinessConsig.com. Thanks for joining me today. Before we go too far, let's touch on some of the things we learned in Episode 3. Episode 3 taught us about productive networking. We went over some techniques that would help bring us closer to converting new contacts into paying clients. 1. A firm handshake will go a long way. 2. Always have a business card ready. 3. Make plenty of eye contact. 4. Be able to give a clear, concise synopsis of your business and what it is you do in under 30 seconds. 4. Remember proper phone call and email etiquette. Never erase a phone number and never ask for a favor without giving one. If you have any questions you would like me to answer in an upcoming episode, you can email them to me at businessconciliere@gmail.com. Now on to today's topic, business negotiations. Negotiations in business can be like a game of chess. For those who have never played, chess is a game of strategy and positioning your pieces on the board. When I was a new business owner, I had a terrible habit of waiting to negotiate price until after the job was already done. Part of this was because I had a fear of losing business, and the other part of this came about because I had no idea how to price my services. As I stated in an earlier episode, I just started my first business on a whim, without any prior research or due diligence. I thought just knowing how to do the job was all I needed to run a successful business. Due to my inability to negotiate, I spent so many sleepless nights up re-editing and putting touch-ups on a film project that far exceeded the scope of the client's budget. But due to my inability to negotiate early and accurately, I put myself in a bind that forced me to fulfill obligations that were ambitious at best. If you don't value your time, why would you expect anyone else to? Billing a client for 7 hours of work only for them to go over by 5 hours and you not charge them is doing both the client and yourself a disservice. Once you begin down this path, it's hard to turn back because next time the client may think, well, I got 5 free hours out of him or her last time. I'll just book him for 2 hours this time and get 7 hours of work for the price of 2. See, now you've got the customer expecting you to work for free. Your time is valuable and you must conduct yourself as such. It wasn't until much later in business that I learned to effectively negotiate deals. I had to know my standard rates for services and how much I could discount those rates when appropriate and still earn enough to keep my business thriving. To determine those rates, I researched other competitors in my area, compared their work to mine, and created prices based on how my work matched up to what the norm was. Fortunately enough for me, many of my competitors at the time were and still are producing substandard work with a lack of professionalism to boot. The way I set myself aside from the pack was with above average work, a professional demeanor, following up with clients, and actually having clients sign contracts upon entering into agreements. These simple techniques helped me set the bar for the way business should be handled and gave me an upper hand in my negotiations. Over the years, I've learned that not all business is good business and not all clients are good clients. I had to get into my mind that in negotiations and in meetings, not only was a client interviewing me, but I was also interviewing them. Just like they had the right to choose another company to fulfill their needs, I had the right to decline their project. You might ask yourself, what reason could you come up with that you would turn away business? Well, there are 3 reasons that come to mind right away. 1, the main reason I usually have to turn away business is because the client has unrealistic expectations. A good friend of mine, J. Martinez, and I were discussing business one day a few years ago, and he drew this business diagram for me. It's a simple diagram. All it is a triangle. He said clients normally want 3 things when they come to us for our work. They want high quality, they want it done fast, and they want it done cheap. Then he said it's our job to tell the client that they can't realistically have all 3. For example, you can get a high quality product and you can get it fast, but it won't be cheap. Or you can get it fast and cheap, but it won't be of the best quality. Or you can even opt to get it high quality and cheap, but it won't come fast. So it's our job to get the customer to decide what 2 options are most important to them. The number 2 reason one might turn away business is because the project doesn't line up with your company's direction. Paying clients are great, but sometimes it's not about the money. Once you have a clear and concise model of your business and where you want to take your business, you'll find that sometimes opportunities arise that can sidetrack you and your company on your way to greatness. Case in point, I know a guy that has a car custom auto body shop. When he was starting out, his goal was to only deal with exotic cars like Lamborghinis, Bentleys, Ferraris, Bugattis, etc. In the beginning, he would get some guys that would bring their cars in to get serviced, like Hondas, Toyotas, Audis, Lincolns, and for a while he accepted the business. But after a while, he realized that the headache and time it took to deal with these cars and their owners was detracting from the time he could be spending on the automobiles he originally opened up the shop to service. True, exotic car owners came with their own unique set of headaches as well, but at least he'd be working on the cars he set out to work on. As he began to turn away the business of the standard car owners, he saw the turnaround time on the exotic cars increased, and his exotic car intake grew steadily to a point where he was forced to expand his business. This is the perfect example of a time when turning away business is necessary to realign yourself with the real direction you have for your company. A third reason you may decide to turn away business is that a client may just be too difficult to work with. Outrageous demands, unreal expectations, or they may just require an excessive amount of hand-holding to the point that it impacts your ability to efficiently perform your job. One thing you should always keep in mind when going into negotiations is the minimum you'll take to complete a project. After you've got this in mind, never renege on it. It's rare that you'll get a client to agree to your initial quote, so be prepared to negotiate terms and/or price. A rule of thumb in sales is to never start with your lowest priced option. It's harder to upsell than it is to downsell. This is another instance of the psychology of business or sales. Once an expectation of price is set in the client's mind, that will be seen as the norm. Start with the price of your basic package of, say, $500. Then when you try to upsell the client to a premium package that includes additional services for maybe $750, the client's mind is like, whoa, hold on, I'm good with the $500 package. Whereas if you had started with the higher option and given the client the option of turning it down before introducing your lower price option and letting them know that these features are not included in this particular package, your odds of closing a bigger deal will be quantified. Make a trip to your local car lot or electronics store or anywhere else employees are paid on commission to see this principle in action. And that brings us to our final tip. Don't be scared to walk away. If the working relationship isn't a win-win for both parties involved, it could be a better option for you to just get out before it's too late. All business is not good business. If the budget is too small, if you already have too much on your plate, or if some of the expectations the client has are just not realistic, do not be afraid to part ways. It's better to be honest and upfront about what you can deliver than to promise something you can't. A good rule that's always worked for me is to underpromise and overdeliver. We've all picked up the phone to order a pizza and they tell you that the pizza won't be there for 45 minutes to an hour. Initially, we're like, wow, that's a long time, but I suppose we can wait for it to get here. So we place the order over the phone only to have the delivery guy show up in 30 or sometimes 20 minutes. Our initial reaction is, wow, that was fast, and we're delighted that the food is here. And we're more inclined to order from pizza place XYZ because they delivered way ahead of schedule. On the other hand, what if when we called, we were told the pizza would be there in 10 minutes, but didn't actually show up for 30 minutes? We would be infuriated. Why is that? It's the psychology of business. If you promise something and don't deliver, the client will forever remember you as the company that couldn't hold up their end of the bargain. On the other hand, estimate worst case scenario timeframes for clients, and if you can deliver in best case scenario times or anything under the initial estimate, you will be hailed as a god amongst men. But if a client holds your feet to the fire about something you know you'll be unable to fulfill, walk away. Let's recap for business negotiations. 1, negotiate price early. 2, know your rates. 3, interview your clients. 4, beware of clients with unrealistic expectations, projects that don't line up with your company's direction, and clients that are just too difficult to deal with. 5, know the minimum you're willing to accept for your services. 6, underpromise and overdeliver. And finally, don't be scared to walk away. If you've got any questions, email them to businessconsigliere@gmail.com and make sure you leave comments in the comment section below. I'll include links to our YouTube channel below as well. Make sure you subscribe. And don't forget to visit businessconsig.com where you can sign up to download a free copy of my new book, 5 Things You Need to Know Before Starting a Business. I'm Victor Adetiba, your business consigliere.